culture is, leaders define culture. You can't outsource culture. The amount of HR departments which get, you know, we come out low on our culture score and they blame HR. And I'm saying leaders define culture. But the key thing is you have to be very intentional. Most leaders are accidental. Therefore, they assume people will catch culture by osmosis. Now, when you're all in the same office, it's sometimes possible for that to happen. But what I would say to people is you have to be very intentional at identifying what are the hallmarks of culture that you want to multiply. So identify the principles or the values, that's codify them. So Giant's toolkit is really our codified culture. So we're saying we want to create a liberating culture, and we made a visual, because if you can identify the component of culture that's important to you, codify it in some way, you can multiply it. And one of the things that still stuns me in the digital world is that companies still have induction and they do the same thing every time face to face. So for me, one of the things that I would do as the leader of any culture is I would capture it, I'd record it, I'd actually make it into a series of videos. And often the unconscious competence of leaders only usually comes out when someone asks them questions. So don't just assume as a founder that you can sit there and tell everyone what your culture is. Usually it requires somebody to ask you questions about, well, what do you think about this? Or how would you deal with that? But this idea of going, you have to identify what the most important things are, codify them in a way that people can remember. So that usually means visual or an axiom or something that is sticky. And then you can only multiply when you've done the first two bits. Most leaders assume that people will pick it up if they hang around long enough, and that's usually where it goes wrong. So codify it, multiply it, capture it, talk it often, but do record best practice, because I love the fact I can send new people who come to Giant and go and watch this pathway on our platform. Welcome to Giant. Jeremy and I, other key leaders, talk about why Giant, what our values are, how we live them, how we do it. And then we have the live face-to-face, but they already have heard effectively the things we wanted them to hear. So leverage technology, but recognize if you don't codify it, you can't multiply it.